This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Bristol Flyers Podcast, proudly sponsored by WebGains. Joel Osborne here alongside Sam Hardy. Sam, how are you, sir?
I am doing very well, thank you, Jolie. Very excited to be here with you in the studio, just the two of us.
Yeah, we've got a very exciting episode coming up for you this week. We've also got producer Dan for this short segment of the pod. Dan, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you.
No Flyers games this past weekend, so you had a weekend off.
I know, I was in Spain.
Were you actually?
Yeah, I went to Spain. It was lovely.
You left this room.
I left the room. I was allowed out of the country even, and I went to Malaga.
You should be locked up for that.
Danny boy, did you enjoy it?
It was great. Malaga didn't know what hit it. I had
bet.
so much paella.
Oh, amazing.
Actually, Dan, it's paella.
Okay, well, I knew one of you was going to pick up on that. Yes, paella.
Paella.
What, did you have seafood?
I did, yeah. It was very nice.
I'm
Sam
jealous.
Sam loves seafood. Whenever he sees food, he eats it.
Oh.
Save that for the comedy roast this week. It's comedy chest this week, isn't it, Sam?
Joel, stop going on about
We're going
it.
to it, producer Dan.
Do you know what? Go on, Dan.
I'm excited, Sam. I'm excited.
I look through the list of sales each month coming through, and the amount of different groups of people coming from Flyers has actually caused me a little bit of anxiety this week, Joel, and I blame you wholeheartedly.
Well, it should be a good one. We've got a whole bunch of us going down, even producer Dan over there. So, yeah, we're excited to see the rated R version of Sam. And if you want to see the rated R version of Sam, not the PG version here on the podcast, you can get tickets to his next comedy chest, which is the last Thursday of every month.
Shut up. I'm changing the date. I'm changing the name, everything.
Oh, dear.
Thanks, Joel. I do appreciate the support, mate, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, it's going to be good, hopefully. Look forward to it. Otherwise, we'll be getting a refund. If it's not fun. I'm joking.
You didn't even pay.
I'm joking. It'd be great.
Dan bought all the
To be
tickets.
fair, Dan did buy the tickets. I need to transfer you some money. Remind me to do that.
Yes,
later.
yes, you do.
I warned you, Dad. I said make Joel buy his own ticket.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I will do that. I promise you I will. Anyway, enough about comedy, chess, and other sports. We should probably talk about basketball. And this episode doesn't really talk about basketball because we're doing a crossover with Bristol Bears rugby this week, Sam.
I'm so excited about this episode, Joel. Jake Heenan from the Bristol Bears is such a delight. He's a kind man. He shared a lot about what was going on with his businesses and life, and I'm excited for the hearers. We've already heard what's going on, but they're going to hear it for the first time now, Joel, and it's amazing.
Yeah, so for the listener, we actually recorded this interview yesterday. We're recording this bit on a Wednesday, so the podcast will probably drop on a Thursday. But this is a great interview. Like you say, I mean, the Flyers have launched a brand new partnership with Burra Bristol, which is the local coffee shop and cafe, which is co-owned by Bristol Bears rugby star Jake Heenan. Mm-hmm. He is a massive Flyers fan and a huge basketball fan as well. So, of course, we actually took the podcast on the road down to their cafe. Up the road, I say down the road, up the road here at North Street from Ashton Gate Stadium. We took all the podcast kit, we picked it up, we plunked it over in Burra Bristol on North Street, and it was a really great conversation, wasn't it? And to launch the partnership, we wanted to sort of get him on the pod, do a crossover episode, Bears and Flyers. We had Raphell Thomas-Edwards in the studio as well. We got the coffees in, and we talked about his love for coffee, we talked about his love for basketball, we put him through our quickfire questions, and we also finished with a little bit of latte art. So, shall we get to the episode?
Let's go for it.
Without further ado, let's take the podcast over to Burra Bristol on North Street.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hey Flyers fans, this is the part of the show where we give a huge thank you to our podcast sponsor, WebGains. We've got Rob over there in the house, and without their support, this podcast would not be possible.
Now, WebGains is the smart affiliate marketing network who have an unbelievable track record when it comes to empowering advertisers and publishing partners to reach their potential and achieve game-changing results.
They connect businesses with top affiliates who can promote your products and services, reaching a wider audience and driving more revenue.
And here's the best bit, Flyers fans. WebGains provides you with detailed reports and analytics to track the performance of your affiliate marketing campaigns, making it easy to see the results of your hard work and investments.
But don't just take our word for it. Here's Rob from WebGains to tell you more.
Did you know that last year affiliates helped sell 12 billion worth of products for British brands, and every £1 spent on affiliate marketing by advertisers also known in our channel as retailers, returned an average of £12.40.
That is actually crazy when you spend £1.
You get £12 back.
£12.40 back. It's so good.
It's amazing.
It's a good deal, isn't it?
And not only are Web Games sponsors of the Bristol Flyers podcast, but their company logo is also once again on the front of our home and away playing shorts, inspiring the team to make smarter connections, just like they do for thousands of brands on their international affiliate network.
So if you're ready to skyrocket your online presence and drive more sales, visit webgains.com and see how they can assist you in the world of affiliate marketing.
That's webgains.com, webgains.com. Give your business the assist it needs with WebGains Affiliate Network.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Bristol Flyers Podcast, where we have taken the pod, Sam, up the road from Ashton Gate to Burra Bristol. And we are very pleased to be joined by owner, co-founder of Burra Bristol and Bristol Bears star Jake Heenan. Jake, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, but you're welcome for me having you also. So great to be here and great to meet the boys. And yeah, no, it's awesome. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us up here. We really appreciate it. Of course, we're here to announce a new partnership with Burra Bristol and the Bristol Flyers together. Tell us more about how this whole partnership came about.
Yeah, mate, hugely exciting. So myself and the co-owner are big Flyers fans, love getting down, watching the matches, sort of love what you guys are doing and sort of the direction Bristol sport's going. So we're really excited to get involved and also saw it as an opportunity to potentially get on in a fourth quarter one day. I don't know, just if you're low on numbers or something like I don't know, Matthew Dellavedova past his prime or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see.
This is the perfect season for that, actually, mate, 'cause we've got loads of injuries right now, so maybe we'll call you up and get you on, yeah?
100%. You'll see the sponsorship just go through the roof straight afterwards as well, yeah.
We've got Flyers captain Raphell Thomas-Edwards with us, as always. Raph, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, what's this, my third time? First I couldn't get on. No, I'm one of the time.
On for the hat trick now, mate. You guys haven't actually met properly before today, had you?
No, I'm just a massive fan. That's yeah.
So this is the first time you guys are getting together, and you guys have both been to each other's matches, haven't you? Raph, I know you went down and watched Bears earlier this season.
Yeah. We was against the Barbarians way early in the season. I tried to take all of the guys. I believe there's one or two that didn't come, but yeah, most of the guys got to go. And I've been trying to get down all season. And scheduling's been hurting me, but after this, I have to kind of go to again now.
I was going to say, because the schedule's like pretty much every Friday night we're both playing, so it's really hard to find those games where one of us can go watch the other team. I guess
he gets to our games, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Jake, you've been down to quite a few Flyers games, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. A young fella now makes it a bit more difficult, but no, we get down when we can. A few of the boys come along, and then the boys will love it as well.
Yeah, you mentioned your love for basketball. How long have you been a big hoops fan?
I suppose probably Stephen Adams was probably the start of, so for a lot of New Zealand, he was kind of the breakout New Zealand basketballer, when he first came on the scene at OKC. So that was kind of when I first got into it, and then you started sort of following Russell Westbrook and all those guys off the back of it. And what I love about basketball, it's such a perfect spectator sport. It's so well geared to spectators. It's the commentary, it's Sam carrying on during the game, but it's the music and the fans are very vocal about what they want to happen, whereas a lot of sports don't get that. So yeah, lots of points scored. It's such a good sport to watch.
The best thing I think about New Zealand and their basketball team is their name, and I don't think everyone knows this, but what do the New Zealanders call their basketball team? Yeah, is this true? I might be wrong.
It's Tall Blacks, isn't it?
It's the Tall Blacks.
Yeah.
I think that is the cleverest name ever.
Yeah, I don't know how well the haka goes down before a basketball game.
I've
but,
seen them do it before.
Yeah,
they do it.
They get after it.
Yeah, they do it. I think it was a clip doing the rounds on social. I think last year or something they did the haka.
I think it was a couple of years ago.
A few times. Yeah.
Do you think the squad of 12 versus a squad of 25 is a different vibe for the haka, though, right?
Oh yeah. It's a slightly different atmosphere, but it's good. It's good. They go all right. Yeah.
Yeah. A little birdie told me that you sort of fancy yourself maybe signing a 10-day contract with the Flyers at some point down the line.
Yeah. I was actually that little birdie before the before the podcast, but yeah, thanks for keeping that on the down low. 100%. It's like maybe like a gritty point guard who doesn't shoot. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Me and Raph will talk about it afterwards.
What about the rest of the Bears squad? Are there many other players that like to hoop or like into their basketball as well in the Bristol Bears?
Well, so George Kloska was actually a part of the Flyers podcast, wasn't it? Sorry, the podcast, the academy, wasn't he?
I was going to say it was on my notes, but yeah, Kloska, he used to play with Corey Samuels in the academy at SGS.
Yeah, so he plays with us. Yeah.
I'll see if I can get a picture up on screen. If you're watching the podcast, we'll see if we can get a picture of him. I think we've got a picture, Sam, from him during his time as a Flyers junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do, don't we?
Yeah. We'll get it up
up
on screen. It'd be amazing.
Do you then have a bit of a 2-on-2 up at the HBC? Because you got a hoop up there, don't you?
Yeah, so I think there's only 3 of us that religiously play through preseason. The other one's Kev Geary, our head athletic performance coach. So it's generally just 20 quid on free throws, and then we just try and convince someone else to come play and rinse them for their money, because that's all we've been doing all preseason. But yeah,
Didn't Afoa used to play a little bit as well?
I think he used to think he could play, but I don't think he could actually play.
Yeah,
but,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Another link between Flyers and Bears is that, I don't know if many people know this, but Ellis Genge is the cousin of former Flyers captain Greg Street as well. They're cousins. So he used to come down to loads of games. And I know Greg's obviously they're very, very close. But I don't think people really know that, like Ellis and Greg Street.
In the nicest way, they couldn't look more different, right?
Yeah.
Like Greg's like real lean and like quite. He's strong, but he's like not. But Ellis is huge, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big old boy. Yeah, good genes, eh?
Yeah, great genes.
Raph, I know you're keen to visit the HPC at some point. We've spoken about it. We're going to try and get a Flyers team visit up to visit these guys at some point. You fancy it?
Yeah, 100%. Like we kind of talked about before, Bristol sport is it's more than just basketball and rugby. It's like everything. So, you heard 100 times. I've tried to see every part of it. So this is one of the parts. I definitely want to see, how the other half lives. So I feel like it'd be a really amazing experience.
Mate, what size are you? We'll get you a pair of boots.
Oh, man.
Yeah, try it out
Get
with
me
the
out
boys. Yeah. Gee, we can do a bit of size, mate.
We can do a swap, I guess.
I reckon we've got a few players in the Flyers that could do some bits of Bristol Bears. We've got Brad Greene, our like nearly 7-foot centre.
Yeah.
What position would he play, do you reckon?
Oh, just get him in the row, mate. Yeah. Get him in the row.
Also, if you're all paying £20 for free throws, Raph, you should go up and take all their money, yeah?
I'll just go down there. Yeah, 100%. If I'm invited, I'll
Real
definitely come
conspicuous
down.
saying I reckon this guy's useless at basketball. Walking around 7 foot tall, yeah. Bet he's never played basketball before, yeah.
What about getting you guys in the weight room so you can
So you can
lift
stay
more?
around.
Oh, you'd be doing lucky to see me in there, but yeah.
Who would you put forward from Bears? Who's lifting the most right now?
Oh, Max Lahiff is
Is he?
Yeah. He looks like Adonis. Like he's the boy for. Yeah. What are you guys lift a lot of weights or?
Yeah.
Who would you put against Max Lahiff, Raph? You put yourself forward?
No, I would. But it's Brad Greene. I've seen Brad, we've got the basket. Usually we have to kind of pump it down, move it across. I've seen him grab it by the back and just move it based on his whole weight.
I've seen this as well.
Oh my god, never.
He dunked it in practice last week, didn't he?
And it's
it moved out of position. He just
my
literally
gosh.
picked it up, just dragged it across back into position again.
Crazy.
It's weird because I reckon Brad is a bit bigger than some of your players on your team, which is weird because they're not, and I don't mean height, I mean actual size as well, which is completely different sport.
Brad's a beast. Yeah.
It's a scary thought.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to see it. I reckon there'd be a few hoops to jump through with the medical teams, maybe do some cross-sport content like that. You know what I mean? But
Just don't tell him, is that right?
we'll just go do it.
The trouble is at the Bears HBC, that where the medical staff sit is a window right into to the gym, so they'd see everything, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Me getting thrown around the place by Brad Greene. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, never mind him. What about me?
So I don't think we're getting away with that.
No.
Jake, before we dive into the world of coffee, we want to put you through our quickfire questions segment. So every time we have a guest on the Bristol Flyers podcast, we put them through our quickfire questions. You have to answer as many questions as you can in 30 seconds. We've kind of tinkered with the questions to make them very basketball, rugby, coffee specific. The score to beat is 11, I believe. Sam, are you ready to go with the quickfire questions segment? Play the music?
Yeah, ready when you are. Now we'll tell you when to stop because you won't be able to hear the timer, okay?
Are you going to play the little Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing? You got to play that as well, yeah?
Oh, what, the lights down?
Yeah, yeah, there we go. There's no lights to go down in here, but we've got to keep tradition, haven't we?
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, Jake, you've got 30 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now. Who is your favourite NBA player?
Stephen Adams.
Hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot coffee.
Which Bears player would be the most likely to play for the Bristol Flyers?
Jake Heenan.
What position would our 7-foot centre Brad Greene play on the rugby field?
Back row /6.
Name one artist on your pre-match playlist.
Zach Bryan.
What's more exciting, a try-saving tackle or a posterising dunk?
Oh, dunk. Easy.
Afternoon kickoff or evening kickoff?
Afternoon.
What's your favourite sport outside of rugby or basketball?
NFL.
And your time is up.
That was very good, Jake. I
1,
think
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9?
I don't know if you asked the first question, so I actually think
yeah,
it was
no,
8.
eight,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
I
8.
want to see the word count on those questions. But,
To be fair,
you boys are really slacking there.
There
You
were
boys
quite
are.
wordy ones, but eight's not too bad.
That was good.
No, very good. NFL.
I love it. Yeah, I
Super
love
Bowl,
it.
did you watch it?
Yeah. I struggle with the Chiefs, but it's great. So we can go like American football right the way through to now, and then I can sort of jump on the NBA bandwagon and get into playoffs. So
I love
works
that.
perfectly.
I was surprised you didn't say Jimmy Butler is your favourite NBA player because he's got his big face coffee brand. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really enjoy him in the playoffs as well.
Chatting rubbish.
I just love it. yeah. But I just how it's like. I don't know what the impression is in professional basketball, but the NBA, it's sort of like this super long, enduring regular season.
Yeah.
And then the playoffs come and it's like a different sport. Like they just go absolutely bananas during the. Is that like? Can you relate to that? Is that something that you've seen before, or is that sort of unique to American basketball?
I think NBA, once you get guys that have been in there for a couple of years, they kind of, you don't want to say it, but I feel like some of them kind of choose when to go all out. And you can tell Jimmy Butler, like LeBron James, he's getting old, but LeBron James is like one of those guys.
Doesn't James Harden have like Vegas written into his contract? Like
He just
like literally
picks and chooses when he goes. But yeah, I think it's a different situation. Like here, it's a grind the whole season, but when playoff time comes, it's still a grind. Like trying not to have like too much of a thing. But obviously, any sport, when it comes playoff time, you get a little bit of a mental like, okay, now it's time to like really put it together.
Yeah. I was saying, I was looking at the schedules. Like you guys play so many more games than Bears, right? Because I was looking at the schedule for Bears. I think is it because it's the World Cup year now that there's a massive gap in the schedule for like for your matches right now.
Well, yeah. So we actually went about 25 games on the trot. Finished with that Bath game. So that for us would be unprecedented. Like you'd have a block of maybe 7 or 8 games and then you'd get a bit of downtime. And so that was the biggest sort of week to week block of rugby I think I've ever played in. But yeah, Six Nations. So the World Cup sort of pushed us back and then Six Nations. So
25. So you've just got no time for your body to do real healing in that time. Like, because each week you're just ready for the next one, sort of thing.
Yeah, so like everyone will be different, like your match load and how much you're playing, and but when you're, if you've got a few injuries in a position and you're getting rolled out week to week, you're playing and then you're just getting right and then you're playing again. And
well, we know full well about injuries because we've got a long list this season, haven't we? I mean, we're playing. I think we're approaching game number 40 now for Flyers this season. If you add all the European games, the league games, the trophy, and pre-season as well on top of that, I think in total we're looking at around 50 odd this season, depending how far the playoffs go on.
Oh, okay.
So I think if we go far in the playoffs, you're looking at I think 55 upwards. So because almost an NBA schedule, they play 82, don't they?
I couldn't imagine 82. That's amazing.
But all the travel with that as well, you know what I mean? Like you play a match and then you're on a bus for 6 hours coming home, and then you're not sleeping and puts you back a day. It's
and we have
it's not easy.
double headers as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Friday, Sundays, or sometimes back-to-backs and 2 nights.
Yeah. We had a game the other day that was started at 8 p.m. and then it was on a Saturday, and on Sunday we started the next game at 4:30. Was that right?
Less than 24 hours.
And it was just like you guys are ruined right after that.
How do you mentally prepare for that? Like, you literally switch off and then just, I don't know, do you switch off or?
If it's a different team, depending on the schedule, if we've got one really important one, we try and say, this one's not way more important, but like you put all your energy into that one and then you try and reset after that game because you don't know the result of it. And then you have to kind of start the routine again because that game, last win, you need to win the next game. I think it's just one of those things. It depends on the time of the season. It's right at the beginning of the season. 2 games in a row, it might be a bit more energy.
Yeah.
At the end, it's like, okay, now this is my job. This is, I used to play it for fun. Now I'm getting paid to do it. Now I got to perform night by night.
Yeah.
Are you guys ever like, and obviously we're here in the coffee shop, so it kind of makes sense to talk about it, but are you guys ever like having a match day routine where you're like having a coffee pre-game, or is it, because like, obviously I know it's like caffeine, it's not like performance enhancing, is it? But like,
What
like,
is it? I actually don't know.
No, 100% is. Yeah.
Is it? Are you down the routines? You get to Ashton Gate, have a coffee, and
sponsored
then
by copious amounts of caffeine. Yeah, that's I literally run my life on it at the moment.
what's the typical routine on the match day then? How many are you having pre-kickoff? Like coffees?
Coffee, like I'm pretty relaxed. Like I'll, whatever come and go. So, but we'd do, I do 300 milligrams of caffeine before a game.
What, is in little tablets? Or
Yeah, and like a
Tablets,
tube. Yeah.
Not intravenous.
No, not yet. That's when I come to the Flyers. That's what you boys are running. You'd like load up pre-game and then just not sleep for the next 2 days. But yeah, you boys are the same. You caffeine.
I was planning on getting tablets right at the beginning. I was talking to our strength coach, but usually caffeine, I just have a coffee. I usually have it without milk, just for the fact of the caffeine. So like, I'm not really, too in detail about like the milligrams of it, but I definitely have some caffeine before. And we have like sachets. The name escapes me, but every game I'm kind of looking for it, and I'm trying to figure out, is it 30 minutes before? Should I have it right before? And I guess it's just one of those things you got to figure out as the season goes on.
What is it different for each body, basically? Different person, different timing?
Yeah, I'm sure it depends on what you've been eating, like what time the game is, and all of that sort of stuff. But, for me, 30 minutes or 40 minutes in, we come in. At the end of the tour, it's probably about, like I said, 30 minutes, and I take it then, and most games have energy for it. So
You mentioned about drinking coffee pre-game. Obviously, we know that a lot of the Flyers players have quite funny coffee orders because they like to put 4 or 5, sometimes 6 sugars into their coffee very often, don't they? They do, don't they?
That still coffee? Or
Right,
is
it's
like
a bit
sugary water with a bit of...
Yeah, but they literally like load it up with sugar, don't they?
They're American, a lot of them, right? So they're used to the syrups and the whatever else. So I don't blame them too much. But a purist
Used to
like
terrible
yourself,
coffee. Yeah. Get those boys in here and all.
Is it terrible like that? Is it out in America? Is it?
Not always, but I feel like there's still that. It's a bit. Some older brother lives out in Dallas, and it's that like styrofoam cup, and if you want a small, it's 12 ounces. You know what I mean? It's copious amounts of everything, and but you can obviously like. Particularly like in the West Coast, if you're San Fran and LA, like you get really unique sort of speciality coffee places. So probably depends where you go.
Have you been to watch the Mavs or not?
Yes, I have. Yeah, we saw them. Yeah, play Ja Morant and Steve Adams and the Grizzlies. So that was
amazing.
That was really cool. Really cool. Yeah.
Awesome. That's like I've been out to watch Dallas a few times. It was back in 2011 though when they won the championship, the Jason Kidd season with Shawn Marion and that lot.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Nowitzki.
Yeah,
obviously.
Dirk. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Said it wrong, but he's
Dirk
amazing.
Nowitzki. There you go.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Let's dive into Burra a little bit because obviously we're sat here on your coffee shop on North Street, but you've got 2 establishments now, haven't you? Sort of tell us how it all kind of started, though. Sort of take us all the way back to how Burra kind of started.
So it's a pretty long story, but the short version is, it sort of looked at really enjoy hospitality, and I don't know how you find it, Raph, but when you're training all the time, your leisure time becomes hospitality, right? Like it's not like my down day and go hiking or surfing. You're often like you're knackered, so spend a lot of time in coffee shops through my career and something. Come to really appreciate good hospitality. So. I'd shot Luke Morahan a text one day and said, "Do you want to open a coffee shop?" And he texted back and said, "Yeah, right." And that was it. And then we just sort of stumbled our way through it until we got to where we are now. So we opened our first site up in Lower Redland Road, February 2021. We opened in Hawfield for a bit, and then we moved that site down to here, which has been great. So we're 3 years in, and we're a much finer operation than we were when we first started. But we've learned a ton, really enjoyed it.
For those just listening and not watching, we've got the logo in the background here. Who designed your logo, and what's it? I know it's based off, really, but why don't you give us the background on that?
Yeah, look, we're obviously an Antipodean cafe, so Burra being a bit of a play off Kookaburra and your local borough, and one of the sort of focuses of ours is sustainability. So you've kind of the bird and the leaf, and look, it's it was designed by the guys down at Artworks, who obviously do a lot with Bristol Sport, and yeah, so it's good. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And obviously, you've done a bit of everything with the business. Obviously, you started it up. You've poured coffees. You do all the sort of different roles within the business as well, don't you?
Yeah. Fired people and that kind of thing. Yeah. All the fun bits. Spent. So my wife she's from a hospitality background, so she's grown the place from that sense, and I've kind of been fortunate enough to having spent my professional career within a sporting environment and working with teams, you'll understand how important people are in relationships and being able to communicate. And I suppose that's where my time spent, like almost everyone who works here is far better at working here than me, which is great. And so I can work with them, and, we've got a Michelin star experienced chef in the kitchen there making us food now, and Molly, our manager, who you met, is incredible at almost everything. So working with these guys and encouraging them to really take ownership of the shop and them to grow it, and once they're or we get people whose values align with the business's values, they can drive it forward, and and then I can sort of be there and help them, and so yeah, it's been really enjoyable. But I wouldn't call myself a jack of all trades anyway. But
well, I was going to say
a Jake of all trades.
Where's the soundboard?
Terrible.
Yeah. You mentioned a chef. Obviously, we've got the rest of the team coming down later, straight after this. They're having a team meal, aren't they?
Yeah. Like I said, Torre's in the kitchen, and I'm yet to see him produce. I've actually asked him once to make like a really sort of a dirty bun, with like American cheese, and he couldn't do it. Comes back and it's 10 times better than what they asked for, and it's all with like locally sourced ingredients and homemade buns, and I'm like, oh, fair enough. So the boys are in for a treat. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sort of ties in quite nicely with you, Raph, as well, because obviously you have your business on the side of your playing career, your visionary mentoring business. Just tell us a bit more about that.
Well, hospitality, it's not quite hospitality, but mentoring, there's a lot of things I've learned through sport. So a couple of my old teammates, this is back when I was, 16, and actually I've just brought Marcus Del Pesce in. We're trying to do something with schools and kids trying to, improve themselves, and the things that we learned through sport. What we're trying to do is put together a program where we can kind of teach that and package it so that we can kind of give them the lessons that took me years to learn. I think we've been going for, 5 years now, and there's a lot of things that I've been doing on the side of that. So it's taking more precedence now as I kind of, it's my birthday in a week, so 31. So I feel like I'm taking more of like a leadership role now. It's one of those things I just want to grow, like from a passion place. It's more about taking everything that I've learned over the years of playing and before playing professionally, and see if I can give it to the kids that I was, or previous years ago. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, and how are you guys able to manage both of your businesses whilst still playing? Because that can be incredibly difficult, I imagine. Obviously, Jake, you mentioned you've got a family now as well, and I can imagine it all stacks up. And how do you balance that, the commitments of both?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's been easy, particularly with the young fella, but I think the first part is the team. Having a great team where the guys can take ownership for a lot of stuff, and I don't need to be overseeing, what they're doing. So, and then look, like anything, it's using your time wisely. And when you get an hour or so, it's just ticking away and getting a bit done. But yeah, for us at least, I think we're 30, 32, 33 strong now. So the team doing their job, and
33. That's huge across 2 places.
Yeah, there's part-time students,
Yeah,
that kind of thing as well. But yeah.
Lot to manage though. A lot of sort of emotions to deal with.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but like the same way, like a professional sports team, the guys are able to manage themselves and they're able to manage each other, and I feel probably similar to what you're doing is those are the skills that I have that I can give to them, and whereas they have a lot of skills within the place, them, I suppose, learning from my experiences and being able to implement it, to grow the culture within the cafe. That's I suppose that's where I see my value.
Yeah, the world of business and the world of sport sort of tie in together quite nicely because you're sort of taking learnings and stuff from your playing career, bringing them into the world of business. Raph, I know yours is a bit of a smaller scale in terms of your where you're at right now, but you're finding the same struggles of trying to commit to like playing and also running the business at the same time?
With that in particular, it's one of those things where, the more I learn in basketball, the more I can teach. So it hasn't really been a thing back and forth. I know we talked about playing so many games throughout the season and, finding, where the priority lies. But I think, basketball is who I've been for so long that this is kind of an extension of that. So it's not one or the other. It's just like an addition onto what I've been doing. Do you find it hard to do both?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, and I suppose I know what your schedule looks like, but like we can't train all the time. You know what I mean? Like we have to have our down days in the week, and we have to have our, even we come in and, you'll love hearing a footy player complain about their long day as they stroll out the door at 3:30. You know what I mean? It's we do have time, and that's the reality in it. So it's just about, when you have that time, making the most of it.
Yeah, I think and after you just said it, sometimes it's an escape from sports.
100%.
Yeah, so not like I need an escape from sports, but it's like it's something different where I can still be, competitive and still put passion and energy into that, is something that's beneficial. So I feel like it's a healthy balance.
Yeah, it's like a passion project, isn't it? Like you guys have like your interests outside of sport. You guys aren't just athletes, and also on the other hand, I know you guys are, sort of coming towards the closing stages of your career, your playing careers. Whoa. You know what I mean? Though?
we just discussed the 10-day contract. I'm at the beginning of mine.
Up for Flyers.
Yeah.
But it's important for players, especially in a world like sport, where you just never know what could happen. But like having that something to fall back on and doing and getting that set up. What we talk about it all the time in the podcast. Like so many players on our team have their side businesses, and something that they can maybe move into once their playing career's over. Because playing careers, and the reality is they don't last forever, do they?
I don't know how many years I got, but apparently,
I didn't mean it like that. I promise.
I got a haircut today too.
I promise I didn't mean it like that.
But no, you're completely right. I think sometimes a lot of athletes struggle because you finish sports and you put so much energy into that thing only that now you're on to a new thing. You kind of searching, what do I do next? So I think, I took a break before I came back into playing. So my perspective has been different for this whole, 5 years at Flyers because I already stopped and then came back. But I think it's amazing to be able to find something where you can use those skills that you've built up over time. So, okay, maybe making free throws is not going to be, the next way to kind of make money unless I, go down. But, being able to, work as a team, being a leader, being able to, learn that people are what's necessary for everything. I think all of those things are super important. And to be able to have that and be able to use it in a positive light, it's amazing.
One of the I did a psychology module at uni talking about athletes finishing, and a lot of them do have sort of an identity crisis, right? Whereas what you guys are doing, where you've got something that you're now focusing on, and whenever that time comes in 50 or 60 years when your careers are over, right, Joel? Whenever that is, though, at least you've got something that you do know how to do, and you are putting time into, rather than just going, oh, what am I going to do now? Who am I? And I think it's really cool what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really great to see. And like we say, we talk about it so much in the podcast. We've had Raphell with his sweets business, Corey with his vending machine business, and hearing, having Jake on and talk about Burra as a whole is great as well. Jake, I know one of the challenges that maybe you would have faced when you launched Burra was, I'm right in thinking you launched coming straight out of the COVID pandemic. Is that right?
Yeah. Look, that was actually, to be honest, worked in our favour in a lot of ways. It was obviously hospitality was struggling, so we were able to be something new. We were able to open out of a hatch, in the window while we redeveloped the back, so we didn't need a large initial investment while we could still turn over. VAT was 5% at the time, so the government wasn't taking as much of my money, and so it all kind of worked out worked out pretty well for us, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I guess when everyone's locked up at home, it gives you guys, and obviously when the sports fixtures aren't going on, with everything shut down essentially, and it's sort of you have that more time to really sit and bring these ideas that you have to life. And our podcast is a product of the pandemic, isn't it? We started it during the pandemic when everyone was stuck at home and we were doing them on the Zooms and speaking to players.
The amount of issues we have with Zoom, but hey, it worked in our favour, didn't it, Joel?
So,
but people were crying out for some human interaction, some normality, and and we could offer that through a hatch in a window with a cup of coffee. And people would come and they would they'd sit out in the pavement and they'd talk to each other, and it was great, and that's something that we've really tried to do as a cafe is really prioritise that customer service. And obviously when you walk in the store, it's more than a cup of coffee or your food. It's the whole experience, and the timing again for that worked perfectly. So we were able to deliver that right when people needed it.
Yeah, it's definitely about creating a place to people to hang out. Do you know what I mean? All the best conversations happen over a cup of coffee. When you look back over the last sort of couple of years now, how proud are you of how much it's grown in such a short amount of time, Burra Bristol?
Yeah. Look, really, I suppose the organisation as a whole I'm proud of, but I think more than that is the people within it, So you met Molly, who's here helping today. She was our first ever employee.
No way.
Yeah, back in, when was that? February, March 2021. And, she sort of come right through and she ended up running the place and to the point where we've had, a lot of internal promotion. We've had people sort of being able to achieve a lot of their goals, and that's probably been the most exciting part. I've really enjoyed that.
I've got here in my notes 2022 Bristol Life Awards Cafe of the Year. Is that right?
That is right, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's 2024 now, but yeah. It was 12 months after opening, and we sort of managed to snag that, and that was a real highlight as well. So that was that was really cool. But it's hospitality, it's a tough industry. You would have seen, unfortunately, there's places dropping every week now. So for us, it's just, you can never settle. You can never. And again, it was great coming from a sporting background where you can have the best game of your life, and if you're not on it the next week, you'll play terribly. It's very ruthless, and that's sort of the approach we've taken with hospitality. Is if we don't keep growing as an organisation and what we do, we'll end up out the back very quickly. So again, just great transference from my career.
Well, you've heard it here as well from Jake. You've got a Michelin star experienced chef there. It's very cool in here. I had a coffee from Molly earlier, which was amazing. So if you haven't actually been down to Burra yet, you've got to give it a go because it's really cool in there.
Well, we've got some flyers coming on your seat soon for one of the games as well. So some flyers at the Flyers game, with a bit of a discount code as well. So there you go. The fans will see it. It'll be great.
Let's talk a little bit about the deal. So you want to sort of work with the Flyers, right? And that's something you've been wanting to do. So some of the things you're going to do, you're going to offer some meals for the team down here so they can get to sort of have a team socials together. But and experience the great food. What other things are you sort of getting involved with?
Yeah, look, we're nothing major at the moment. We're starting with a bit of food and a bit of discounts. And what I'd actually love to do is get the Bears boys down as well, and get I think the teams probably don't mix enough, and we're all sort of trying to achieve the same thing. So very early stages, we just kind of wanted to get the boys in and build that relationship and go from there.
You were just showing us the new garden out here at the back.
Mate. Great social out there as well for the boys. So
okay.
Yeah, we better tuck you in the garden. No one will see, mate. You can get up to whatever you boys get up to. Have a few beers.
Almost the perfect place for a Flyers and Bears social, I would say.
Yeah, and they've also got heaters on the wall. So even though we're in the UK, which is always freezing, it's going to be nice out there, hey?
Yeah, it should be.
Talk to us about the future for Burra. Talk to us about what the plans are down the line. Where do you see yourselves in the next sort of 2-3 years down the line?
Yeah, so we think there's definitely room for another restaurant in Bristol. I'd like to find a bigger site. I'd like to find more of a restaurant per se than the sort of smaller coffee shop. I think since we've had Toru, who's now one of the owners of Burra as well, our food has really sort of stepped up and we've become really well known for our food. So I think that's something I'd like to probably go down a bit more. But again, it's quite turbulent times in hospitality, so we won't. In the next 12 months anyway, we won't look to aggressively expand. But yeah, there's definitely one or two more in Bristol. before we sort of have a look elsewhere and see how we go. But I've still got, a good 6 or 7 years in my career, Joel. So, we'll have to get through that first, mate.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, if Pat Lamb is listening, I'm still good, mate. I'm still good.
And how can guys follow you, fans follow you on social? At Burra Bristol, is that right on Instagram?
Mate, as simple as that. Yeah.
Yep, so go follow Burra on Instagram. I had a look through on the Insta earlier. Some great content coming out there. Some good latte art I saw.
Yeah. The guys do a great job. We've actually got Sarah in here who looks after a lot of our socials. So,
she's like, that's me. That's me.
Yeah. So she'll be chasing the boys around this evening, which will be good fun. But look, and again, we've got a great, dynamic team that gets stuck in, and like I say, the socials, and that's a lot of the guys that are driving that themselves, which is fantastic. So yeah.
And you've just launched some new merch, is that right as well?
Yeah, yep. So we've got some, although I couldn't dig out too many 2XL, so I don't know how many of the boys are going to get into them.
Not going to fit.
But no, but we'll see what we can do. We'll find something.
And speaking of merch, we brought you a little present as well, mate. It's actually last year's jersey. Joel had it lying around the office, but we know it's really special to give you some good little Flyers merch, mate. This is one of my favourite ones. Should fit you. 2XL, that'll fit you, right?
Yeah.
Get them guns out.
And the rest, yeah. get two of me in there, but yeah. Thanks, mate. That's very kind of you. I'll sauce the boys up at training with that.
That's it. Wear that in the gym when you go to the HPC next and make everyone jealous. There you go.
Awesome.
Jake, thank you so much for joining us for this segment of the podcast. We were just speaking then. We wanted to do a bit of latte art competition just to finish off this segment here of the podcast.
Latte art, Joel.
Latte. Raph's had a bit of training already
Oh, I
with
didn't
some
say
of our
that.
partners.
This is real lose-lose, eh? If I don't win this, and he's obviously got the hand dexterity as well, so...
There we go. So we're going to have the Flyers versus Bears latte art competition.
Have you actually had some training?
No.
We
We did a little bit, but not enough for me to say I could successfully.
It's not your first time, let's put it that
it's not
way.
my first time.
But with
Second time.
There we go. But with a bit of podcast magic, let's make our way over to the Flyers v Bears latte art competition.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Okay, so we have moved over to the counter here at Burra Bristol on North Street.
You choose your cup, right? What do you want? Do you want to go the big
I
one?
want the bigger one.
Yeah.
So who's going first? Are we going to have...
He's just going rolling. He knows what he's doing.
Molly, would you like to come steam?
Come on, Molly.
Molly's going to come in here and...
This is Molly, the first ever employee by Burra. Is that right?
Yes.
So, Molly, talk us through the milk steaming process.
So basically, you've got to put the milk in, obviously.
Good to know.
And then you put the wand in, just so it just on the top, and then turn it on. And then hopefully you hear a little, it sounds like paper ripping, basically. And then put it down and hold it until it's too hot, and then turn it off.
This is like an educational podcast as well, so all the listeners and the viewers on YouTube are literally...
Really good describe it, yeah. But
Alright.
Okay, so the milk is ready to go. Raph, what are you aiming for with your latte art, mate?
I don't know. White circle.
A white circle.
Last time.
Here we go, look at that.
Ah, there you go.
Look at that.
Here we go. What's this?
It's
like that's a good looking heart, though, Sam.
Yeah, I would say. It's quite a small heart, but it's a very good heart.
There we go.
Yeah, the challenge has been laid anyway. So there's
Right, Jake, show us what you have got. Mate, pressure is on here. You know that.
massively. I really should have gone first.
What are you going for? What is the design you are aiming to do?
Oh, it's like heart wonky tulip at tops. Like,
Right, so we are ready to go. Raph has done the little heart. Jake's turn next.
see, what I have is like all the mannerisms. You know what I mean? Like, I can't actually do it, but I can look like I'm doing it. You know?
Here we go.
Look at the swirl. Love that.
This is Jake Heenan's attempt. Okay. Oh. So for the podcast listener, Jake has... How do you describe this, Jake?
Ah, that's no good. No, that's no good. That's no good.
Molly, we're going to need the professional to judge the latte.
Well, Jake's my boss, so.
No,
The heart is really cute, so I'm going to pick the heart.
The heart. So Raph is the winner. So Raph was just
I've never done
defeated.
this before. Yeah, nice, mate, nice. No, it's good.
Well, guys, thank you both for joining us on the podcast. And if you are listening, go down to Burra Bristol, get yourself a lovely bit of coffee and food, and maybe you'll bump into you as well, Jake. Is that right?
Yeah, not behind the machine with any luck, but yeah.
Shall we hand back to us in the studio, Sam? Bit of podcast magic. Here we go.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
What a chat that was. Incredible. And bit of podcast magic. We're back here in the studio.
How good was that tiny little cute heart by Raph?
The winner of the Flyers versus Bears latte art competition. I said latte, not latte. So that was our segment with the in Burra Bristol. As you say, do look out for some vouchers, some flyers coming on seats very soon at the SGS College Arena. We've got to do our usual podcasty bit, Sam, so it's time for us to get to the news.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
All right, here's a look at what's been going on around the British Basketball League and beyond this past week. And of course, we were in international break, so there wasn't any British Basketball League action going on.
Do you know what? I love international. I think it's amazing. But in basketball, it is a shame when there's no British Basketball League action, Joel. I miss it.
Yeah, the 1 week goes by so slowly, doesn't it?
Did you get a chance to watch any of the international games or not?
I briefly watched back like condensed games or highlights, but there were 2 games for the GB national team. They started on Friday. Is it Friday or Saturday? Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Against the Netherlands, and they came out on top at the Virtue Motors Arena, 98 points to 94. Now, they led this game by as many as 21 points. But there was a late charge back from the Dutch in the fourth quarter. It was 82-80 with just under 5 minutes to go, so a 2-point game. Really tight finish down the stretch. Great game for the neutral supporter to go and watch. I imagine all the fans in Newcastle that weren't watching the Eagles that weekend were entertained to a really exciting game of hoops. So congratulations to GB on their first game of the international window. Then on Sunday, they travelled to Czechia, which is Czech Republic for you, because you didn't know that you could call them Czechia these days. They battled hard, but they fell away from home, 90-82 to Czechia in their second Eurobasket 25 qualifier on Monday. This was a close competitive game for the first 3 quarters. GB fought back from a double-digit deficit in the third. They got it close in the fourth, but the Czech Republic, they sort of raced clear to secure the top spot in Group F.
We actually, Joel, had a message from Anez and her life, which is her Instagram handle, who we see down at the Flyers regularly, who messaged me saying, hey, just listen to your Flyers podcast. Firstly, I want to say you guys are doing a great job with it. We'll take that, won't we, Joel? Secondly, with Czechia, the name, it's not actually many years that they've officially approved the shortcut. This was actually just first official FIBA. This was the first official time FIBA were using it.
Oh,
so
really?
you acted as if it was some big deal that I didn't know about it, but it was the first time.
I didn't know that.
So there you go. But
You learn something new every day here on the Bristol Flyers podcast.
And I certainly did. While we're on the subject of Eurobasket, by the way, I meant to mention this. While I was in Spain, walking past a couple of restaurants.
And they were showing the qualifiers?
Yeah.
Genuinely?
They were showing Spain-Latvia.
Yeah.
It is massive over there. Yeah. There were loads of fans watching the Spain-Latvia game. Spain ended up losing that game to Latvia, 75-79. And it looks like, I think they've lost their first 2 games in that Eurobasket.
I'll tell you what,
I was amazed.
There were some big upsets during the qualifiers. I saw Germany, the world champions, they lost.
Who to?
They lost to Bulgaria.
No way!
In the first game, yeah, I saw that.
That's actually meant. But they wouldn't have had like Dennis Schroeder in that, would they?
No, there wasn't. No. It was. There's still some great players on the team. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, congratulations to GB. They've gone 1-1 so far in their FIBA Eurobasket qualifying first window, and the next window takes place in November. What else have we got to get to here? Competition time. Sam, we are running a competition on the Flyers Instagram page with our partners at CK Dental. Now, we want fans to make us smile with their best Instagram captions for this photo of Brad Greene at CK Dental. Here it is up on screen. For the podcast listener, Brad Greene is on the phone, looking in a very mischievous way. What captions can you come up with for this photo of the Flyers' big man? Let us know. You can leave your comments on the Flyers Instagram page for your chance to win. The competition closes next Friday, which is March 8th. The winner will receive a free Polar teeth whitening kit worth £250.
Wow.
So get your entries in. Let us know your funniest captions. Make us smile. What are your funniest captions for that picture of Brad Greene?
I absolutely love that massive Brad Greene's in this picture with a tiny little bunny rabbit mouse mat.
Yeah, it's showing his softer side. He's on the phone. I'm like, hello, All-Star game calling.
Yeah, very nice.
Very good one. So there's a few ushers for you, but I'm sure you guys have got some funny ones up your sleeves. So let us know. Leave a comment on our Instagram. We'll pick a winner on Friday, next Friday, which is March 8th. Right, other news to get to. Got to give a massive mention for corporate basketball. Of course, the BSF are inviting local businesses to go head-to-head in our annual corporate basketball tournament, Tuesday, April 16th at the SGS College Arena. Team building exercises. Your team is coached by a Flyers first team player. It's perfect for your business, for a bit of staff engagement as well. If you want to get involved, head to the Bristol Sport Foundation website for all the details. £700 per team, which is a maximum of 10 players. Players of all abilities are welcome. It's a great day of basketball, and it's probably one of the highlights of our sort of calendar, isn't it, Sam?
Everyone who gets involved always says it is one of the most fun things they do that year. And you're right, really good for staff engagement, for team building, all the rest of it. So yeah, get involved.
Head to the Bristol Sport Foundation website right now for all the details. Also, the deadline for submitting your team, speaking of Bristol Sport Foundation, the deadline for submitting your entry for the Bath Half Marathon to run for the Bristol Sport Foundation as an official race charity is on March 7th. So we are looking for members of the public to race the Bath Half Marathon for the Bristol Sport Foundation. Some of the money raised will go towards potentially funding a new Flyers holiday camp. So very exciting times. That race takes place on March 17th. The deadline is March 7th. So you can you get like a whole bunch of benefits. £40 entry fee. You get space in the starting line, a foundation t-shirt, fundraising pack, and you can join a Facebook group full of fellow BSF members to share your progress. The top 10 fundraisers win tickets to watch Bristol Bears or Bristol City at Ashton Gate. So it's the last chance for you to register your interest, to register for a team. So go do that right now also at the Bristol Sport Foundation website. Other news to get to, Sam. I don't know if you saw, obviously last week we mentioned Brad Greene was named starting centre for Team South. We didn't get a chance to really talk through the starters that were announced, the whole starters for both teams. Now, this is obviously a massive talking point up and down the country because everyone has their opinion on, who was left out, who's been left out of the starting fives. Both of the North and the South starters have last week been revealed. Let's start by talking about the North starting lineup. Get it up on screen, producer Dan. And Jordan Johnson from Newcastle at the point guard position. There's also Larry Austin from Newcastle. 3 Newcastle players in this starting 5 for Team North. They're alongside Taj Green as well. He makes up the forward spot. And then there's 2 Cheshire Knicks stars, Aaron Rye at the 3, and then Ethan Jaguar is the starting centre. What are your thoughts?
I do find it strange that you don't have a player from each team. I wish it was that in the starting 5. I know it's not that, but I do think this is a very strong team, first of all. Like, they've got a good chance. I still don't think they're going to beat the South, but for a start, they are very good.
It is, again, like, I know there's been a lot of talking about this. You know, I've listened to a lot of conversations around this, and essentially the starting 5s is a popularity contest, like, you know, because it is a fan vote. It is asking fans to pick their favourite players to basically make it the 5.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember, the coaches are making up the rest of the squad. They're picking the rest of the team. So, you know, just because your player doesn't start for Team North or Team South doesn't mean they had to have a chance of getting picked for Team North or Team South. So, obviously, the coaches make their selections this week, actually. They make their picks on Thursday night. We'll be announcing those on Thursday night. So, if you're listening to the podcast on I think this podcast will drop on Thursday.
Yep.
So if you're listening to this podcast on Thursday, it will drop this evening. So you look out for the start of the reserves for Team North and South. Here's a look at the starters for Team South. Get them up on screen, Dan. There you go. Matt Morgan and Jaron Holmes of Leicester Riders. Matt Morgan of the London Lions making up the backcourt. They're alongside Teddy Allen and Sam Decker in the forwards positions. And there he is, our very own Brad Greene at the starting centre.
This team is unreal, Joel.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like this team will not be beaten. Obviously, like anything could happen in a little bit of fun in an all-star game. But Dan made a great point about who he thinks is going to win, and a very, very, very statistics-based reasons to why. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see here on the South starting 5, 4 guys, very angry, aggressive, mouth open. On the North starting 5, only 3 have got their mouth open. And also Taj Greene, he's not really going for it there, is he? He's been asked to do it, and he just sort of,
He should be in the caption competition getting his teeth checked.
Yeah.
That's the one there. That's the catching competition.
But it just looks like he's going, Is that all right? Yeah, thanks, Taj. That's great, man.
I love this because players on media days, these sort of media, I know exactly what they get asked to do on these media days. The photographer will be there taking the photos, and they're like, right, gonna need you to shout now in 3, 2, 1. And some players are like, ah, like that, and some players go, ah, like really loud, and that's exactly why. And you can tell that photo, that Taj Greene is not the type of player to just want to shout like that off the bat in media day.
Joe, off the just quickly here, without you getting any preparation, up close, Dan, can you on Joel? He give us his best shouting face
absolutely.
now.
No, what?
Yeah.
we
So we're
go,
on media
Joel.
day. Right, do a screaming face. Go.
3, 2, 1. Ah! There we go.
Wow.
Is that right?
That was very good, Joe.
I had to get away from the microphone there because obviously I don't want to burst your eardrums if you listen to the podcast on headphones. So
That was incredible.
Sorry about that.
Love that.
But there you go. They're your team North and South All-Star starters. The match takes place on March 17th, the All-Star game. So you can get tickets for that over at the British Basketball League website. Also, don't know if we told you, the Bristol Flyers podcast is going to be there. So if you're a Bristol Flyers fan and you've got tickets to the All-Star game, let us know. Reach out to the podcast at Bristol Flyers on all major social platforms, or send us an email. Let us know where you're going to be sat, where your ticket is, and we'll come find you and do some interviews, have a little chat with you for the show.
Or if we don't like them, avoid them. That's a joke. We like all of you.
There you go. So yeah, the podcast will be there in a couple of weeks' time. So watch this space. Great stuff. And I think that is everything, Sam, for this week's news.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
I want to record you doing this week's news.
Right, let's get to the news.
Dan, you have to send me that little clip. I'm going to get it on my soundboard, okay?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I quite like something like that. It's quite fun, isn't it? It's time to get to the news. Yeah, I don't know.
Perfect.
Sorry for your ears there, Dan. I was shouting a bit loud.
Yeah, sorry, headphone listeners.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Bristol Flyers podcast. What an episode that was. Shout out to Jake Heenan and Raphell Thomas-Edwards for having a coffee with us and welcoming us in to Burra Bristol. The partnership is now launched with Burra Bristol, so again, look out for some discount codes, some cool things coming your way very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But Sam, yeah, what an episode.
Very much. One of my favourite episodes we've done, Joel. And yeah, that's all from us this week, I suppose.
Next week, I'll talk about next week's show. Next week is International Women's Day. We are going to be having some very special guests into the studio to talk about the direction of the Flyers women programme in particular and our junior girls player pathway. So watch this space. It should be a great episode there for you. But until then, Sam, thank you for joining me on the pod as always. Dan, thank you for pushing the buttons as always. From Joel, Sam and producer Dan, we'll see you next time on the Bristol Flyers podcast. Goodbye!